You know, every once in a while, a game comes along that's just more than a game. It's a story of pure, raw willpower. And today, we're going to break down one of those stories, the anatomy of an absolutely impossible comeback that sent the Phoenix Mercury to the WNBA Finals.
So that's the sound of victory. That's Phoenix Mercury's WNBA Bonner, right after that final buzzer. It's the perfect end to an incredible win. But you gotta ask, how in the world did they get there? Because trust me, it was anything but easy. In fact, just one quarter earlier, it looked like their season was completely over.
All right, let's set the stage. We're in Game 4 of the WNBA semifinals. For Phoenix, the math was simple. Win, and you punch your ticket to the championship for the first time since 2021. Lose, and you go home. The pressure could not have been any higher.
And the matchup? It was a classic David versus Goliath story. You've got the fourth-seeded Phoenix Mercury, the clear underdogs, and they're up against the top-seeded Minnesota Lynx, who are the heavy favorites, just trying to force a do-or-die Game 5. On paper, this should have been Minnesota's game, no question. But you know what they say, games aren't played on paper.
Now here's the thing, the favorite, the Minnesota Lynx, they were coming into this a little banged up. They were missing their MVP runner-up, Napheesa Collier, because of an ankle injury, and they were without their head coach, Cheryl Reeve, who was suspended. So even as the top seed, the Lynx were definitely vulnerable.
But for 3 straight quarters, you would have never known it. The Lynx came out playing like they had something to prove, and they built up this huge lead. For the Mercury and their sold-out home crowd of over 16,000 fans, that dream of making the finals was just slipping away minute by minute.
13. That was the number. They were down by 13 points heading into the final 12 minutes of an elimination game. In basketball, especially in the playoffs, that can feel like a mountain you just can't climb. I mean, the odds were completely stacked against them. And look at the score here after 3 quarters, 68-55. For 36 minutes, the Lynx were in the driver's seat. They were executing, they were silencing that Phoenix crowd. The Mercury, well, they needed a miracle. And a miracle is exactly what they got. Seriously, what happened next was just a basketball firestorm. The fourth quarter wasn't just a comeback. It was a hostile takeover that people are going to be talking about for years to come. So how'd they do it? It all came down to this unbelievable 19-2 run. All of a sudden, the Mercury offense, which had been pretty quiet, just caught fire. At the exact same time, their defense completely locked in, forcing stops, creating turnovers. And all of that led to a string of clutch shots that didn't just erase that 13-point deficit, it actually gave them a 4-point lead with less than 3 minutes to go. The whole script just got flipped. I mean, the final quarter score tells you everything you need to know. Phoenix outscored Minnesota 31-13. That's not just winning a quarter. That's pure domination when it counted the most. They just rewrote the ending to this game. And who was the smart plug for this whole thing? Well, it was the same player we heard from at the very beginning, WNBA Bonner. She came off the bench and just poured in 13 of her points in that final quarter, including 3 massive three-pointers that sent that crowd into a frenzy and just fueled the entire comeback. What a clutch performance. So, with the comeback complete and the victory in the bag, the Mercury punched their ticket to the WNBA Finals. And yeah, Bonner was the fourth quarter spark, but this was a total team effort, led by some just incredible individual performances.
The engine for this team all night long was Alyssa Thomas. Her stat line was just ridiculous. 23 points, 10 assists, and 8 rebounds. She was just 2 rebounds away from her 10th triple-double of the season. She literally did everything for this team.
And she wasn't doing it alone. You had Satou Sabally right there with her, chipping in a huge 21 points and 6 rebounds. Having that second scoring threat was absolutely crucial to weathering that early storm and then mounting the comeback.
And hey, you have to give credit where credit is due. Kayla McBride had a monster game for the Lynx, dropping 31 points. But in the end, that combined firepower of Alyssa Thomas and Satou Sabally was just too much, and it proved to be the difference maker for Phoenix.
So, if you had to pick one word to define this Mercury team, what would it be? For me, it's resilience. And here's the thing, this wasn't a fluke. This was their second double-digit comeback win of this series alone. They'd already erased a 20-point deficit to win Game 2 in Minnesota. This team just does not know how to quit.
And this quote from Alyssa Thomas really just captures their entire mindset. It wasn't about one hero, it was about every single player stepping up. It took everybody. We're hungry, we are super ready for this moment. That hunger, that collective belief, that's what drove them when their backs were against the wall
Which brings us to our final question. As the Mercury get ready for the championship series, we know they can score, we know they can defend. But after a performance like this, after a whole series defined by these insane comebacks, is it possible that their resilience, that pure refusal to lose, is that their actual ultimate weapon? I guess we're all about to find out.